This is a video tutorial on utilizing GIF to add the project of Liberator or the Project Configurator. I think the word Liberator might be misspelled and needs correction. It is a small tool that I created within the Psycho view for enhanced analysis and gaining valuable insights into the data. The functionality it provides allows you to perform various actions within the projects based on the new instructions. Each configuration, which has been predefined in a repository with a specific scope, for example, Winston, can be accessed and utilized to streamline your workflow and enhance efficiency. What is the purpose of this? The goal is to achieve several things with this approach. Loading everything from a template, having a template specifically for AB source product, having one template for PP, and simply when we launch a GitHub command, it transfers that template to the current project, ensuring efficiency and consistency in the development process. When I mention it really transfers, what I mean is that it actually copies files that do not exist in a clean business project. For example, it may copy a JSON set, a rule set, a company logo, and for files that do exist, like the Apple JSON, it compares the keys. Essentially, it searches for the key, such as the company's URLs, and determines if that key exists. If it does, it changes the value associated with the key. If it doesn't, it creates the key along with its corresponding value. This is how the transfer process works in a nutshell. In that specific place, the template always rules. The template you currently possess is essentially not a super essential tool, because it will help solve your life or provide you with a lot of valuable assistance. Nevertheless, I firmly believe it is something interesting worth considering and exploring further, as it can potentially offer unique insights and streamline your workflow, ultimately enhancing your productivity and effectiveness in various aspects of your life. I had made two similar approaches in two previous parts, although it is true that the others were more archaic because the files were restricted by the extension, so if we changed files, the updated extension was quite rich in features and provided enhanced functionality compared to the previous versions, making it a valuable upgrade for our needs. In the end, I was the sole user, and my knowledge of Java was insufficient to implement the desired approach outlined in the script. Consequently, the issue remained unresolved, and it now stands as a pending matter. However, it is crucial to note that the Department of General Affairs must grant approval for the project to move forward. Despite these challenges, I remain committed to pursuing this approach, as it aligns with my initial intentions and objectives. In essence, I was conducting a test with GPT and seized the opportunity to witness how the extension nearly handled everything on its own, but it managed to handle all of the extensions effortlessly, showcasing its impressive capabilities and potential for automation. Essentially, what I did was modify two error messages, and I believe I inadvertently changed all three variable names due to my habit of mixing them up. Personally, I find the entire extension to be challenging. So it appears to be an extension of Visual Studio that, through a command, clones a repository you have in some remote kit and uses that repository to display the configuration for the current project that you have open and are positioned in on your device. Essentially, it's an extension of Visual Studio that enables you to access and view the configuration of your current project by cloning a repository from a remote kit. This feature provides a convenient way to manage and examine project settings within the familiar environment of Visual Studio. Does it make any sense for this video to be in Spanish when the documentation is in English? The little that is said will be in English, and the entire extension is in English. To be honest, it really doesn't make any sense at all. I'll pass on the pizza and make use of this video as a valuable reference for improving my English skills, or alternatively, I'll give a try to using a language learning tool. An important factor that we must take into account is the issue of prerequisites, which can greatly impact our progress in this endeavor. In order to proceed, we require our system to have Windows 10 and NPM Node Package Manager installed. Additionally, we need to ensure that we have a version of Extractive OpenShift that is higher than 57.0. It is crucial to have this specific version to proceed with the installation. Currently, the extension can only be installed manually by applying the extension that is not available in the store. Unfortunately, there is no automated installation process using PowerShell or any other method. However, it is important to note that the installation itself is not overly complicated and can be done easily. In essence, the process involves cloning the repository if it is not already cloned in the current location. Then, it navigates to the specific folder within the repository known as the node extension folder. Within this folder, the 400th of Project Configurator is executed to run the npm install command. The purpose of this step is to provide the necessary modules for the extension to function properly. If I recall correctly, you have successfully ensured that all the required modules are available for the extension to work seamlessly. This process is crucial for the smooth operation of the extension and ensures its functionality is not compromised. This is merely the start, my friend. Well, I do not see it. There are 3 steps, depending on whether this is about the file system, basically to copy the files locally, and simply git, which is to clone the repository. There are 2 necessary modules to initiate the session, namely the file system module for copying files and the git module for cloning the repository. Once we have obtained the necessary node modules, the next step is to make a copy of this folder. This folder is located inside the root cloning repository. The process of copying would be very similar to the previous step. However, it is important to note that this folder represents the amount of node extensions and is significant to the users. It contains important information related to the name of our user and must be handled with care during the copying process. We were in the process of coming to see if we want to install the Visual Studio instruction or Visual Studio Code Insiders. To do this, go to Extensions and simply paste it into the designated area as per the provided instructions. Too bad, it tells me that it already exists, that it will replace it because you already have it installed and ready. Theoretically, we already have it. Now, it would be necessary to trigger the window or close and reopen the floor in order for it to load the extension, and we leave this step behind, and we would already have the extension installed. To make sure that it is installed, we navigate to Extensions and search for Air Project Configurator. If we open it and see the list, it indicates that it is indeed installed. Once the software is installed, we need to configure the URLs in order to clone our templates and ensure they are properly set up for use. We have templates available for PDF extensions as well as for various types of products in our collection. In essence, you are required to provide it with the information stating, hey, this is the URL to clone the PT and this is the URL to clone the absolute one. I established repositories on GitHub for the example, which are fundamentally 2 templates, one being the DPT example PTPG and the other being the example absolute CPU. What should this template have? This is something else. It should only contain the elements we want to drag into our project. Nothing more, nothing less. As an illustration, I possess a surname but not all the keys. I only have the keys that need to be replaced in my JSON attachment, and I want those keys to be replaced. For example, here I don't have the application ID. If I had the application ID, every time I run this command, it would drag it to the other one, to my new project, and it wouldn't make sense. All the instructions would have the same learner, and they are created. So here we are only going to input the key value pairs that we want to subtract from the existing ones. As an illustration, let's consider the example where we have the publisher, the version, the URLs, the logo, and the logo path. Additionally, I drag the logo to this designated location. Moreover, we also have the feature and the issue of whether we want to allow debugging, downloading the source code, and other related functionalities. Feel free to input any desired information in this field as per your requirements and preferences. This provides flexibility and customization options for the users. And with regards to files, the files that we primarily put are the ones that will determine the total number of projects. So in this particular example, I have added some additional information about recommendations, and I have also mentioned the topic of rule sets. One of my habits is to expand the rule set in such a way that it not only fails to compile with WAMI, but it also gives an error directly at compile time. This ensures that you don't miss the WAMI. This is actually the first thing that I didn't realize initially, but it turned out to be a clean way of integrating without the need for guards.
The reason for not having guards is that the rule set cannot have warnings. So in this scenario, you can simply paste any content that you want to drag into this repository, and the logo will automatically paste it for you. For instance, initially you would have a repository specifically for AppSource. In order to configure it, you would need to copy the corresponding URL and then go to my Visual Studio. From there, you can enter the Manage Settings section and search for my project extension within the Pleasant project. Once you find it, you can input the URLs according to the corresponding title, whether it's PTM or a product. Additionally, you can also open the user configuration counter and paste the URL there. Essentially, with these steps, you would be able to bring a configuration. So, to summarize, this project is like a headlong project, meaning that it is created for you when you launch the configurator command to the project. You have the option to choose whether you want to bring a PTM or a product configuration. If you choose PTW, it will basically bring the desired configuration. It's worth noting that any files that do not exist will not be created, and the app will modify the existing files accordingly. Therefore, this approach provides an easy way to have more flexibility and avoid making numerous decisions on a daily basis. While having the extension is highly necessary, this method seems like a much nicer way to approach creating new extensions, as it eliminates the need for manually copying files from one another. At this point, you might be wondering what the difference is between the two approaches. Well, the main difference is that with the previous method, you would have to manually copy files from one repository to another, which can be time-consuming and prone to errors. However, with the new approach, you can simply paste the desired content into the repository, and the logo will take care of the rest. This not only saves time and effort, but also ensures accuracy and consistency in the process. Additionally, by using the URL-based configuration method, you can easily manage and update the configuration settings without having to modify multiple files. This makes the whole process more streamlined and efficient. Overall, this new approach offers a more convenient and user-friendly way to create and manage extensions, providing a seamless experience for developers and users